This video marks my 5th year anniversary of being on YouTube, and to celebrate, I'm about to lose hundreds and hundreds of dollars on Magic the Gathering. Wait, what?
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The magic historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings! Owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, my friends! I hope the day finds you well, because we have gathered for a celebration where we watch me get financially decimated. Here's what we're doing. I have a booster pack of Legends. These are worth $1,000. The reason is because the set was printed all the way back in the early 90s. It came out in mid-June. It was only available for 2 weeks, and then it was gone forever, right? And so these packs are super hard to come by, but the value of the cards inside is never really going to add up to the cost of the pack. So it's not really a question of if I'm going to get financially decimated. It's a question of how badly am I going to get wrecked. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go through all the cards in the pack joyously and picking over all the little details, having the time of my life, and at the same time on the screen, we're going to be tallying up the financial aftermath using specifically TCG player prices. And since I'm mentioning that, I do have a TCG player link down in the description. If you like to buy cards online and you use that, I get the hookup. But anyways, with no further ado, let's get into the pack. I've been waiting for this moment a long time, and I can't believe it's finally here and I get to open this booster pack. This is only the 4th pack of Legends that I've ever got to open, and the first 3 I just teared into like a little maniac because I had just started the game. So I'm gonna take a moment and appreciate the old school booster. Look at that. And on the back, I doubt I even read what it had to say. So what does it say? Like any other world, Dominia has its legends. In this new expansion, you'll meet Johann, Gabriel Angelfire, Savitri Skarzim, Hunding, and many more. As you delve into Dominaria's mythic past, you'll discover over 300 new spells, potent artifacts, and creatures with the power to defy death. So enter the world of Legends and join the heroes of old in the struggle for Dominia. If you didn't know, Dominia is actually Dominaria. It's known as Dominia Prime because Dominaria is the center of the multiverse. So down here you have the old Wizards of the Coast logo, standard sort of trademark information. It's crazy. The set's called Legends, but it was originally supposed to be called The Legend Continues. They just shortened it down. This set was only on sale for 2 weeks. Absolutely insane. So now comes the moment. I'm just going to open this. I'm not putting on gloves or anything because this is for me. These are my cards. I don't have to worry about anything. Now, I am going to turn it this way because I don't want to give anything away. These packs are a little bit weird that in the old days of Magic, they didn't like put the rares at the back of the pack. And Legends came with this special insert that you didn't get with any other booster. So it's a bunch of rules basically specific to Legends. It explains bands with other, which is, look at this. Look at this big block of text. Banding is a crazy ability in Magic that was clunky and confusing for people, but ultimately pretty powerful, right? Banding with others is a weaker, stranger subset of it. And look at how much rules text you need for it. That's hilarious. Rampage, you have Rampage down here, a discontinued ability. Basically, this is an ability that gives you bonuses if your creatures are blocked, but they have to be blocked by at least 2 creatures. Makes it garbage. And then multicolored cards. Before Legends, there were literally no multicolored cards. So it had to explain that a card that's casting cost includes more than 1 color of mana is considered multicolored, and it's all the colors of its casting cost. How old school is this? I love it. Enchant worlds? Enchant worlds are enchantments, but they're going to only ever be one in play. If an enchant world's brought into play while another is already in play, the one in play is buried. And buried is old school for destroyed and can't be regenerated. Sorry if it's blurry at all. I'm just so excited about this that I'm like staring straight at the card and not even looking at the camera because I haven't held a pack of these in almost like 30 years legit, and this is insane to me. I love it. So yeah, it goes on to explain what lands and legendary lands are and then general rules clarifications, but let's not spend any more time on that. Let's get into the actual Magic cards. How are we going to do this? Let's slide the pile over here. And then we will flip over the top card. Oh man, right out of the gates, the nostalgia. You have no idea the nostalgia level on this. This is insane to me. Look at this little guy. So many people played this card. It was very, very useful. It seems like not so hot by today's standards. 1 black for a 0/1 where you pay 1 black and it gets +1/+0 until end of turn. And you can only spend 2 black a turn. But it totally actually fit into all kinds of decks that had dark rituals and other nonsense going on where they could just easily toss 1 black to the side and get an extra flyer because they had bad moons and stuff to beef up their guys, right? I remember hating these little things, but because they're 0/1s and they're not pumped usually, you don't feel great about destroying them. It feels bad hitting them with a spell. So you just sit there going, I'm so sick of these bats. Oh! Anyways, this is so nostalgic. I love it. Little bats flying from the moon, ready to suck on that blood, son. Moving on. We have, Keepers of the Faith. How about 2 white and 1 for a 2/3, man? You know what? I'm glad I experienced this set when I was a noob and we barely had anything because my friends played cards like this. This was straight up better than like Pearled Unicorn, right? Pearled Unicorn was 1 white and 2 for a 2/2. This has an extra toughness. Plus, it's cooler, right? You've got these crazy mystics with some sort of floating artifact. I never could figure out exactly what that was supposed to be. I'm like, is it a magical box? Is it a weird helmet that somebody wears? I love the fact that it's just floating above the cloth that is like, it's almost like they don't really need to carry it, right? It's just this ceremonial procession. I love it. Flavor text says, and then the Archangel Antheus spoke to them, saying, fear shall be vanquished by the sword of faith. It's just like random and disparate. A lot of this stuff was made off of people's Dungeons and Dragons characters, and the flavor of it is so much fun. Moving on. We have Immolation. 1 red. Look at that, man. Everybody's on fire. Burn shadows. Target creature gets +2/-2, but notice, it's actually an enchant creature. So its enchanted creature gets +2/-2. So you could use this to beef up your beefy boys, or you could go, hey, bam, I'm going to hit Hypnotic Spectre, knock that sucker out of the sky. I don't know, man. I like the fact that the characters in the flames are shown in this indistinct sort of shadowy way. I like this artwork. It's pretty evocative. After that, we have, kobolds. Man, I love kobolds. I desperately wanted to build a kobold deck, and to this day have never been able to build a kobold deck because all of the cards were so exceedingly hard to get. Even the common kobolds like this, I loved the fact that there was a creature that was 0 mana. I was like, that's crazy. It's just like a 0/1, but it costs 0. And it says, this card is a red spell when cast, and kobolds are a red creature, right? That's just a way of telling you, count this as a red card, even though it costs 0. So this was like a full-on tribal theme where you have a bunch of different kobold lords that give extra toughness, extra power, and trample, but I could only ever get like one guy who gave trample and extra toughness and a guy who gave first strike, so I'd have like a, hey, look at my 0/2 first striking kobolds, and I just gave up on the dream. Still, one day, I've got 1 now. We're on the way. You look at the artwork too. Look at how goofy this kobold looks. He actually looks like he might be able to do a little bit of damage with those teeth. But anyways, flavor text says, the Crookshank military boasts a standing army of nearly 24 million, give or take 22 million. I love that. It's like, we've got, 20-something million, or maybe like 2 million, who knows, because everyone leaves because they're cowardly. All right. Then we've got, flash counter. 1 blue and 1 for an interrupt, because that's how it worked back in the day. Cards went in batches, and you're like, yo, I'm going to interrupt what you do, and let me interrupt you there, son. I'm going to flash counter that. 1 blue and 1 counters target interrupt or instant spell. Flavor text says, she grinned at me. A wicked grin. I hope you weren't relying too heavily on that, my dear. That is great, right? This is pretty, like, blue was off the hook when Legends came out. They were just like, how do we shore up blue? And it's like, what? Blue's already so strong. Like, you know what? Let's give it 4 spikes. So at 1 mana, it has a counter spell that can counter stuff at 1. We'll give it mana drain so that it can counter spells and get mana from them. We'll give it flash counter. Like, they went so heavy on blue at the beginning because it's like, well, that's the kind of abilities blue would have. And it's like, man, it was OP to play with that stuff. This is funky, man. And that artwork is absolutely nuts. I've never known exactly what's going on. Is this like the magic in here and it's being kind of like pulled apart by the shadows? I actually enjoy how kind of abstract it gets with the artwork. Moving on. We've got Wall of Shadows. 2 black and 1 for a 0/1. Damage that Wall of Shadows receives from creatures it blocks is reduced to 0. Effects that target only walls may not target Wall of Shadows. I always forgot about that last ability. I have never actually seen that last ability be relevant in any way. The only thing I can think of is they made these cards in Legends that boost up walls specifically. So maybe they're going, hey, we don't want you to be able to play these boost spells on your Wall of Shadows that can also survive all the combat damage because that feels too easy and cheesy. That's my guess, right? I like the artwork. I love the idea. It's literally just shadows, and you can see up here there are little faces and things in it, but she's just like kind of crouched down going through it. It gives you an idea of how it could be 0/1 and not take any damage and stop a creature, right? They crouch down out of fear, trying to avoid these crazy shadows with the faces, maybe some maniacal laughing, who knows? And it just kind of guides them where it wants them to go by creating a tunnel through it. They have to crouch down, but it can take them where they want to be. And it doesn't matter if she swings her swords around. You can go ahead and take a sword outside and start slapping it at your own shadow and see what happens. Doesn't do nothing, right? So I really liked this card. I love the whole, it doesn't take damage. That's fun, you know? Moving on. We have the Osai Vultures. I played with these guys. The counters they build up actually are, like, they're half decently relevant. I actually still use them in Chandelar, too. 1 white and 1 for a 1/1 flyer. At the end of any turn in which a creature is placed into the graveyard from play, put a counter on the Vultures. Remove 2 counters to give Vultures +1/+1 until end of turn. And the flavor text says, a sign of battle, the Vultures circle and wait for the victorious to depart. Normally, we would actually see cards like this in black, right? It's got that kind of vibe where it's like, yo, I feed off the graveyard and everything. So it is distinctively off color, mostly for white, but at the same time, this is only the 3rd expansion in Magic's history, and the color identities hadn't been nearly as solidified as they are. And I mean, they still are somewhat nebulous and change over time. But either way, this is a funky little dude. His ability is, at the end of any turn when a creature is placed in the graveyard, that whole putting a counter on him, removing 2, that thing is okay. You know what I mean? Like, by today's standards, complete garbage. But being able to boost him here and there actually was relevant. After that, we have, the Dirkwood Boars. I remember slapping these fat daddies in my big green tower. I saw it and I was like, oh, beef, because I already had crowworms, right? And I'm like, man, look at the boars. They're gonna mess my friends up. I'm gonna eat your face with boars, boy. And I'm slapping them down on the table. And then you read the flavor text and it's like, and the unclean spirits went out and entered the swine, and the herd ran violently. And I'd just be going on about, unclean spirits are gonna enter you. I'm gonna make you run violently. Like, just dumb nonsense, but it's so much fun. This reminds me of being a stupid little kid and slapping absolutely terrible vanilla cards on the board and having the time of my life. This is awesome. Dirkwood Boars always felt like epic to me. Not Crawworm level epic because they're only 6/4, but still, these boars are intense, boy. All right, after that, we've got, double kobolds. There's like 3 different kobold crews. So this is a crimson kobold. Yeah. So again, 0 mana counts as a red. And this is kobolds are harmless. And that's Baron the Bold and Epitaph. That's a fun way of showing that kobolds appear harmless, but definitely can be a danger. Because that was written after that guy passed away from kobolds. And I mean, look at the artwork. Like, they don't make the kobolds feel like 0/1s. But yeah, dude, I love kobolds. Let's move on. Flash Flood. The days of insane hosers that are just like OP. You know, like look at this. 1 blue, destroy target red permanent or return target mountain to its owner's hand. Enchantment on target land are destroyed. What it's really saying is like when you bounce the land, if it had enchantments on it, they go to the graveyard as like a rule of the game. It doesn't like technically destroy them unless they updated the wording to like include that. That's just old school wording. But really, this is destroy a red permanent or bounce a mountain for 1 blue, and it's instant speed. So it's just like, oh, am I playing against a red deck? Imagine sideboarding this in against red players. I'll play my first mountain. Okay, I'll bounce it back to your hand before my turn. Like, what? Yeah. You know, it's just slow right down. You get them later on in the game and you're not able to trip up your opponent that way. I'll destroy your best permanent on the board at instant speed for 1 blue. Like the hosers back in the day were so over the top and insane. And this is a great example of that. Flavor Text says, many people say that no power can bring the mountains low. Many people are fools. And then you can see the artwork shows a flash flood coming on down through this like washed out looking village with the storm in the background looking awesome. We're getting closer to the juicier stuff now. Oh, Walking Dead. This is essentially just Drudge Skeletons, right? 1 black and 1 gets you a 1/1. The Walking Dead, there you go. The Walking Dead have actually been in Magic since the beginning. I don't know why everybody got upset about that box set. Anyways, 1 black and 1 gets you a 1/1 that regenerates for 1 black mana. Regeneration is a really solid ability that will save a creature from any kind of destroy effects or from lethal combat damage, anything like that. And it does it for only 1 mana. Like, regen is really solid. But Wizards has ultimately moved away from it as an ability. And look at that artwork, man. You've got this thing lurching towards you. And just look in its eyes. There's just malice and hunger. And it's all emaciated and dark. And it looks like you're walled in some area with it. The flavor text says, The Walking Dead are the remains of freakish experiments by the necromantic lords. That's awesome. All right. What do we got next? Oh, we got Pavel Maliki. I believe we've moved into uncommon territory. Here's where we see the crazy cool golden legendary stuff. 1 red, 1 black, and 4 for a 5/3. I remember the first time seeing a gold bordered card, and it blew my mind. And it's like legend. I'm like, this is like one dude. Everything up until this point has been like, I found a grizzly bear, I got a dragon, I found a demon, or whatever. But this is like, there's only one of these dudes in the entire multiverse. And that to me was amazing. I was like, that's so cool. So, what is this guy again? He's 6 mana, 5/3 legend. He has fire breathing for a black and a red, which is +1/+0 until end of turn for every black and a red you spend. And the flavor text says, we all know the legend. Pavel wanders the realms, helping those in greatest need. But is this a measure of his generosity or his obligation to atone? That's cool. You just get like a little window into some character's life. And I think I already mentioned it, but these are based on people's Dungeons and Dragons characters from like a campaign they were playing. And I love D&D in that fantasy flavor. So it meshes so well here. And imagine how cool it would be to put your D&D character into Magic. And look at that artwork, man. That's cool. I love this like scroll work kind of thing that's going over his head. He's a big, beefy 5/3. And the idea, it's like, is he generous or does he have to atone? The fact that he's like in the black-red by today's color definitions, I would say that would be specifically like, yo, it must be because he's needing to atone. But back in the day, who knows? It could be anything. It's right up in the air. But I always really liked this artwork. It's cool, man. Moving on. We have Shield Wall. Huh. All right. 1 white and 1 for an instant. All your creatures gain +0/+2 until end of turn. That's all right. That's not too shabby. I mean, you look, you see, you got a wall of shields here. And I've seen this card, like they reprint it in Chronicles and other things. And I have to admit that like, after we're going from Pavel and we're heading downwards. This one's not as exciting. So they're going to go, all right, you know, that's cool, whatever. Let's move on to the next card. What do we have next? Oh, no way! Are you kidding me, boy? That's amazing! That is amazing! thing. Kobold Taskmaster. I was just talking about how hard it was to get anything that cranks up the Kobold's power. This is the guy that cranks up the Kobold's power. I mean, they reprinted him in Time Spiral, so I guess there is that. But this is the original Legends. I don't even care about the fact that they reprinted him and he's technically more accessible now. This is such a sweet score. This is the kind, I think I just smacked the camera. This is the kind of pack I would have gone nuts for, right? As a kid, like, yeah, I got 2 Kobolds and the Kobold Lord, man. The nostalgia is so good. And look at the artwork there, right? Like, okay, he's 1 red and 1 for a 1/2. He's a kobold too, so he'll get bonuses from other kobolds, right? They basically updated it so he counts as a kobold. He doesn't give himself the bonus, but they get it from each other. Anyhow, 1 red and 1, 1/2. All your kobolds get +1, +0. The Taskmaster knows there is no cure for the common kobold, and he's all just whipping them. They're all 0/1s laying down. I don't want to do nothing, Billy. And he's all like, whatcha, whatcha. You get out there right now, and you poke that planeswalker in the face. You take this fork, and you stick it in his ear. Whatcha. And he's like, fine, man. I'm going, stop whipping me, bro. I'll go and do it. That's right, you will. You go and fork that planeswalker up right now, boy. You do that, all right? So, like, I love it. I love it. Now comes the ultimate moment. Take a deep breath with me. Oh man, I might pass out. Okay, hold on. Here we go. The rare. Oh, Mamma Mia, what is it? Hellfire! What? Wait a minute. That's like, I'm gonna be like real 100%. There was that part of my brain that was like, I'm probably just gonna get some whatever like mana battery or something that's been printed in Chronicles or whatever else, and my brain just held it in to the point where I was refusing to accept that is a hellfire. I have to step back from the microphone because that is a hellfire. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to edit this into something that's not me breaking the mic right now. Oh! Hellfire, baby! Look at this! Are you kidding me? I love this card. Is crazy good, man. I wanted this card desperately when I played all the way back almost 30 years ago. So, Hellfire, 3 black and 2 for a sorcery. All non-black creatures are destroyed. Hellfire does X plus 3 damage to you. X is the number of creatures placed in the graveyard. This is insane. I was like, man, I put this out. I play this. I keep my Hypnotic Specters. I keep my Vampires. I keep my Black Knights. But guess what? All your dudes, they're all gone because you picked the wrong color to play. Get wrecked. Sure, I'll take the damage. I don't even care because y'all going to be taking way more damage than I did. Oh, it feels so good. And I don't know, there's something I always loved about how spaced out the X plus 3 is on there, right? Like, man, I can't believe it's Hellfire. Yes. Okay, anyways, flavor text. High on a throne of royal state, insatiate to pursue vain war with heaven. And man, this is the best rare I've ever cracked from Legends. This is the best pack of Legends I have or will ever open in my life. I can't even believe this, man. Look at the artwork. You got the demon. He's just leaned back in triumph as his enemies burn. You can see what looks like a knight with this shield, and he's like reaching forward trying to get at him, and it's just, it's the middle of the night, and the demon's like, hellfire, and everybody bursts into flames, and you stand there triumphant as the demon comes to claim his due from you, his price of blood, and you're like, it's worth it, bro. Take as much as you want. That was epic. Thanks for burning, everybody. I could not imagine a better pack opening. I am so stoked. This is the best.
Time to check the prices. Bum, bum, bum.
I don't feel so good. I think Papa needs to go have a lay down. Thanks for an awesome 5 years, my friends.